everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, back again with my roundup of the Raw Superstar Shake-Up Special Edition. Lots and lots of stuff happened on this show. We had a lot of incoming superstars from SmackDown Live. We had an NXT call-up, and we had a title change as well. So let's waste no further time, because there's a hell of a lot to get through. Remember, Raw is 3 hours long, and I'm kind of feeling it, because myself and Adam Machi just did a live stream as well. So thank you to everybody who joined in with our chat over there. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And let's just get straight into it. Let's have a look at what happened on Monday Night Raw. So the show opened with the Raw General Manager, Kurt Angle. He came out to a very affectionate rendition of the "You Suck" chant, which kind of just happens now, I guess. He took to the ring and he said, look, we've got a hell of a show lined up for you. We have a lot of surprises. He promised us a lot of surprises, a promise which eventually did turn out to be true. And he said, we've got a whole host of incoming stars from SmackDown Live. And he was interrupted by one of those stars, Jinder Mahal, accompanied, of course, by the non-injured Singh brother. I always get them mixed up, but the non-injured Singh brother, the one who lost to Noam Dar in the first round of the Cruiserweight Classic. I remember that was him. It was that one when they were known as the Bollywood Boys. But so he was interrupted by Jinder Mahal and the non-injured Singh brother. And he hit the ring and said, look, Kurt, you've signed me to SmackDown. I want a list of demands. He said things like he wanted, I think, was it a private jet or like a tour bus or something like that? Some very like arrogant, heelish demands. And Kurt Angle went, oh yeah, why don't you email them? Why don't you email those demands to me? And Jinder went, all right, what's your email address? Give it to me right now, on air, in front of all of these people. And Kurt went, yeah, it's kurt.angle@nofreakingway.com. Whoa! Legend. Then Angle said that's not quite how things happen over here on Monday Night Raw. We do our talking in the ring, and because of that, you're going to have to defend your newly won United States Championship right now in the opening match of Monday Night Raw, and his opponent was revealed to be none other than Jeffrey Nero Hardy. Jeff Hardy came out, now a fully established member, once again, of the singles division over on Monday Night Raw, although that could all change, because after a pretty damn good opening match, Jeff won the United States Championship, and I reckon could end up moving back over to SmackDown to be fully separate from his Woken brother Matt. I think that could actually happen. It's going to be either himself or Seth Rollins, isn't it? Because you're not going to end up with both the US and the Intercontinental Championships on the same show. One of those mid-tier or one of those secondary titles is going to move over to SmackDown. It's just a case of whether Jeff will take it back or whether Seth Rollins will take the Intercontinental Championship over with him. But a really solid opening match. Really exciting, even from people who don't particularly like Jinder's in-ring style. I reckon that himself and an aging Jeff Hardy really put on a good match. And Jeff Hardy won clean. The Singh brother got taken out pretty early on, and then Jeff hit the Twist of Fate, or his version, like the sit-out version of the Twist of Fate, and a clean swanton bomb from the top, and pinned him 1-2-3, and he is the new United States champion. Then we had a backstage segment where a furious Jinder was interviewed by Renee Young, and what happened here really leads me to believe that Jeff will be going over to SmackDown, because I think we may have seen the beginning of a new feud established for Jinder Mahal, because No Way Jose danced past with all of his party friends, not his rosebuds, and then he said rosebuds. He danced past and went, hey man, you need to cheer up. Turn that frown upside down, Jinder. Jinder obviously didn't turn his frown upside down, and then No Way Jose went, you know what, never mind. Renee, do you want to join in? Do you want to dance? Do you want to join the conga line? And she went, yeah, because she's a fun-loving gal. And they all danced off screen, and Jinder was there seething. He had a very bad first night as a Raw superstar. Next up, a match which, two women who've provided some of the best women's wrestling matches of all time, sadly put on a bog-standard television match on Monday Night Raw, but it did have a purpose. We had Bayley versus Sasha Banks. They went back and forth as only they can. A lot of emotion in the match, a lot of passion, a lot of really putting across the rivalry that's redeveloping between them. There was a nice bit where they were both shouting at each other, then they started trading big slaps, and then just started punching each other. Really good stuff. But then the match was cut short by the attack of the debuting Riott squad. All three members of the Riott squad, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and of course Sarah Logan as well. They all attacked both women, laid them both out, and stood tall, establishing themselves, along with Jinder Mahal and the one Singh brother, as the newest Raw superstars. So very interesting developments there. I wonder if Absolution will therefore move over to SmackDown or not. I guess we'll find out tomorrow night. Next up, match number 3. 3 matches already on Monday Night Raw. They were packing a lot of wrestling into a very short space of time, which I appreciated. I thought was generally as well, I should mention, I thought this was a really good edition of Monday Night Raw. We had Heath, Slater and Rhyno in a tag team match against the team that debuted last week, the Call-Ups from NXT, the Authors of Pain. Of course, without Paul Ellering, whom they controversially rejected last week, and now they're out on their own as a solo tag team. That sounds silly. But this match lasted longer than I thought it would, but it was still essentially a dominant victory for the Authors of Pain. They picked up the win and continued to build a head of steam, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them challenge whoever wins the Raw Tag Team Championships in that title match in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So best of luck to the Authors of Pain. You know what, it's ironic because when they first started over in NXT, I thought, oh no, another team of big guys who don't really know what they're doing, but they've developed marvelously in their time on NXT, and I really hope that they become a really good tag team on Monday Night Raw. Next up, we had Miz TV. The Miz came out, of course, with his boys, the Miztourage, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, and they said, look, well, Miz said, we have some guests on Miz TV, guests plural, and they're going to really take over Monday Night Raw. It is the newest members to jump over from SmackDown Live in the Superstar Shake-Up, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who of course Kurt Angle gave a chance last week to win Raw contracts for themselves in a match against each other, where only the winner would win a Raw contract, and there was a double count out, or a double down, a double 10 count, and that meant that neither got the contract. So it was a bit confusing, but it got explained in time. But they called out Owens and Zayn, they came out, and all the heels had a big 5-man huddle. It was lovely. It was Owens, Zayn, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel and The Miz all ladding it up in a big huddle, and then Miz went, we have a lot of talent in the ring right now. We are better and bigger than the NWO. He said we're bigger and better than the 1992 US Men's Basketball Olympic Dream Team, and we are better even than the Avengers, the fictional Avengers, not a real comparison. But then it's wrestling, so maybe it is apt. I think the Avengers would win in a wrestling match. They've got powers and that. Then Kurt Angle came out and said, whoa, how has this happened? I did not authorize this. I said last week that you had your chance, neither of you took it. How are you now Raw superstars? Sami Zayn went, we received an email, not from the anonymous Raw general manager. The Raw general manager right now is, of course, Kurt Angle, not an anonymous laptop figure. But he said, we've received an email. He read it out in delightfully heelish Sami Zayn fashion. He put on some reading glasses for it. Really good stuff. And he basically said, oh, as he was reading it out, the email said, we're really impressed with these guys. I think they deserve a place on the Raw roster. Yours sincerely, Stephanie McMahon. Everyone booed massively, of course. And then Kurt Angle said, right, fair enough. I'm surprised that Stephanie had time to write an email. I thought she'd be undergoing intense physiotherapy after Ronda Rousey destroyed her arm. And then he said, you know what? I'm fine with this because it turns out there's a trade going in the other direction. And Miz, you will be moving from Raw to SmackDown Live. And the reason for that is because a certain former SmackDown general manager, Daniel Bryan, was really keen to have you there. This was my favorite part of the show. Really smart booking. Everything made sense logically. Stephanie overpowering Kurt in terms of authority. And also Daniel Bryan really wanting Miz over on SmackDown so he can kick his head in. It all made perfect sense. Miz sold the fear of it wonderfully, especially when Kurt told him that he wouldn't be going alongside Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. He'd be going without the Miztourage, and he'd be going to face Daniel Bryan alone. Really good stuff. Next up, we have the final of the Raw Tag Team Eliminator. In Vince McMahon language, we had the final of the Raw Tag Team Eliminator, which pitted the Revival against the new team of Woken, Matt Hardy, wonderful, and Bray Wyatt. And predictably, I think, especially because the Revival got a jobber entrance, which was really sad to see, predictably Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt picked up the win with a new double team finishing move. It was like the twist of fate, but Bray Wyatt held the opponent in a wheelbarrow as well. Very nice, very unique. So Matt and Bray won, and they will go on to face Sheamus and Cesaro in Saudi Arabia for the vacant Raw Tag Team Championship. Then we went backstage where the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro were saying, I've never seen a weirder tag team than Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. And then they were proven wrong because the Fashion Police rocked up. They are another team who have moved from SmackDown to Raw. Lot of superstars have moved, actually. It's been quite a busy Superstar Shake-Up. Busier than last year, I think. Busier than last year. Maybe not busier than 2016, the initial draft, but certainly busier than last year. Breezango were backstage. They gave the Fashion Police, they gave the Bar fashioned tickets for their crime of wearing kilts, and the bar were very cross indeed. This set up a match later in the night. Then we threw over to Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey, who were chatting backstage. Kurt was like, "Oh, I'm really proud of you. You surprised a lot of people." Totally legit. She did. She surprised me with how good she was at WrestleMania 34. And then Kurt went, "I've got a surprise for you. Another superstar who's moved over from SmackDown. Another one." This time it was Natalya, who didn't just move over from SmackDown, she also turned face, I think. She came over, her and Ronda were like delighted to see each other because obviously Natalya, if you know this, had a big hand in training Ronda Rousey. So Ronda was really pleased to see her. They dabbed it up, they gave each other a fist bump, and Natalya went, "I'm here to prove that I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be." Well, in some people's opinion, maybe I'm the second best, which was a really humble thing to say and establish Natalya now as a babyface. And I'm glad because I honestly find Natalya quite a likable person, and I really don't know why she's been heel for so long. I think she may well do a lot better as a babyface. Next up, the Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax came out to be the special guest commentator for a match between Ember Moon, who of course debuted last week from NXT, and Mickie James, Alexa Bliss's sidekick / heel cohort. Alexa Bliss was also meant to be on guest commentary, but didn't show up because she's scared of Nia Jax. And during the match, actually, we had like a double box kind of backstage promo from Alexa Bliss, who said, "Look, Nia Jax is a bully. Why would I come out here and validate her bullying and let her victimize me further by sitting next to her on guest commentary?" Which was a clever little twist because obviously Alexa's been bullying Nia in the build-up to WrestleMania 34, where Nia demolished Alexa and took her title from her, and now Alexa's playing the victim card. I thought that was quite clever, quite funny, and it really suited Alexa's heel character. The match itself was a surprising one because Mickie James got a lot more offense than I thought she would against Ember Moon, but ultimately Ember pulled out the victory with an eclipse. Dare I say the best eclipse I've ever seen? Mickie James sold this move beyond perfection. She ragdolled herself across the ring. It was brilliant, and it was enough to pick up the pinfall for Ember Moon. Next up, maybe the most surprising moment of the night. First of all, Dolph Ziggler came out, another SmackDown superstar who's jumped to Raw. That wasn't the surprising part. He got in the ring and cut the same old promo that he does about how he still steals the show. That wasn't the surprising bit. Titus Worldwide came out to confront him. That wasn't the surprising bit. They tried to recruit him. The babyfaces, I think, Titus Worldwide tried to recruit the heel Dolph Ziggler to Titus Worldwide. That wasn't the surprising bit. The surprising bit came when Ziggler turned them down and said, "No, a lot's changed since I was last on Monday Night Raw, and one of those things is that I didn't come alone." And then Drew McIntyre, who we last saw as a valiant babyface on NXT, cleared the ring. Drew McIntyre is back on the main roster for the first time in years, a long time. Obviously, the last time we saw him on the main roster would have been just before his release. Then he went to the Indies and reinvented himself and became one of the hottest indie wrestlers in the world. Got re-signed by NXT. Obviously won the title there, lost it to Almas, got injured. He's now recovered and is now on Monday Night Raw as the ally of Dolph Ziggler. A very curious booking decision, but certainly one that has really gained my interest. So fair play. I'm really excited to see what Drew does, and because of this also, kind of interested to see what Dolph does as well. Next up, the big dog, as Ross would say. Roman Reigns, he came out to heavy boos. He could barely cut his promo, you could barely hear him over the chorus of boos that greeted him. Basically his promo was, "I'm going to beat Brock Lesnar at the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, of course I am. I'm going to become your next full-time Universal Champion," and he was cut off by Samoa Joe, who came out and basically reminded Reigns that he always loses to Lesnar, and he's also going to lose to him, Samoa Joe, at Backlash, where he of course has a match against him. A match that has really made me suspicious. I think this match could be a title match, and I think that Roman could indeed win in Saudi Arabia in that steel cage match for the championship against Lesnar. Reigns then challenged Joe to fight him, and Joe was ready to go. He had his shorts on, no shirt, he had his towel with him, threw the towel down, stormed down the ramp, and then went, "No, I'll see you at Backlash." Turned around, walked out of the ramp, thought about it again, went back down the ramp, more intensely this time, stopped again and went, "No, you know what, I'll see you later." Infuriating heel stuff from Samoa Joe, but logical stuff as well. It all made sense. Why would he want to risk getting beaten up by Roman Reigns ahead of their match at Backlash, especially when Reigns has to go through Brock Lesnar and survive that before even getting to Backlash itself. Next up, Natalya had a match. They now face Natalya, and I think this really confirmed her face turn, the fact that she was facing a heel in Mandy Rose, who was of course accompanied by Sonya Deville, but no longer Paige, who isn't, I don't think she's a member of Absolution anymore. I think they came out to her music, but she's obviously now the SmackDown general manager. So Natalya won clean with the sharpshooter. Mandy Rose tapped out. Then Sonya Deville beat up Natalya a little bit after the bell, and then Ronda Rousey ran down to make the save. It's very strange that Ronda's gone from, I guess, a huge high-profile match at WrestleMania 34 to, if this is leading to a pay-per-view match, a regular tag match, kind of a mid-card tag match featuring her, Natalya, and Absolution. Then again, maybe they don't have enough confidence yet in Ronda to carry a singles match on her own. And if anyone's experienced enough to kind of help Ronda through such a match, it's Natalya. I mean, she trained her, so I kind of see what they're going for with this. Next up, another tag team match, this time between The Bar, the former tag team champions, Sheamus and Cesaro, and the newly debuting Fashion Police. Now, this was, I think this was probably the worst booking decision on the show from my point of view. It was a decent match. All the guys in the match are at least capable wrestlers, if not really good wrestlers. Cesaro and Tyler Breeze I'm talking about, both fantastic talents. But as good a match as it was, I really didn't agree with the winners here. Yes, you want to get the Fashion Police off to a hot start. They've just jumped over from SmackDown, but don't give them the win against Sheamus and Cesaro, who are about to go into a tag team title match in Saudi Arabia. I didn't really understand this at all. I felt quite bad for The Bar, actually, and I think maybe this is just gonna... I wonder what's going to happen to them if they lose the match against Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, which I think they should. I think they should make Matt and Bray the tag team champions. I think that's a good idea. I just want to know what The Bar are going to do after that. I honestly think, I don't know how many tag teams there are in the Raw tag team division, but I honestly think it could be time to break them up and push Cesaro. Just push Cesaro, for goodness sake. Next up, a backstage segment, which I reckon, and so did Adam Pacitti, that this was Elias's farewell segment on Monday Night Raw and that he'll turn up on SmackDown tomorrow, purely because Renee Young buried him. Like, if you're in a backstage promo with an interviewer and you end up looking less witty and less cool than the interviewer, maybe they don't have a lot of faith in you. Maybe you are leaving. Maybe you are going to SmackDown. And if you're going to put anyone over, maybe it should be Renee Young, I guess. But Elias basically said to Renee, look, hold your applause. Bobby Lashley's a dick. I hate him and all this sort of stuff. And then said, I'm going to do a little concert for you right now. And Renee went, we don't have time for that. Back to commentary. And then Elias was like, are you joking? But she wasn't joking. And they cut him off. So if this feud with Lashley isn't continuing, maybe he is going to be one of the Raw superstars to jump ship and join SmackDown Live. And finally, a big 10-man tag team main event set up by Kurt Angle, and it was to feature the last remaining defector, not defector because it's all authorized and fine, but the last ship jumperoo from SmackDown over to Monday Night Raw. So on the heel team, we had the Miz Tv, all three members, as well as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And on the babyface team, we had Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, and the debuting on Raw, Bobby Roode. Now the main story here was that, well, there were two main stories. The first one is that Bobby Roode is now a Raw superstar and got a very positive reception, but at the same time, I really wanted him to turn heel in this match. I wanted him to immediately turn on his babyface teammates because Bobby Roode as a heel is 20 times better than Bobby Roode as a babyface, or as WWE's version of a babyface. He really doesn't fit that. His whole natural vibe is one of a WWE heel. He should be a heel, obviously, but he wasn't. He remained a babyface in this match at least, I guess. But he didn't get the pinfall. He did not. He did quite well in the match. It was quite a good match, quite entertaining, but a Raw main event pretty much. But the big story here was that when Miz went to make the tag to the Miz Taraj towards the end of the match, when he was isolated against Strowman, both members of the Miz Taraj dropped down from the apron and left him on his own. He took the big power slam and took the pinfall, and Raw ended with the Miz Taraj having, cut ties with their leader, because he is going over to SmackDown, but it was still quite cold-blooded. And it ended with the Miz slumped against the apron thinking, oh no, I have to go to SmackDown now and face Daniel Bryan. It was odd to see Raw end on a note that set up SmackDown. Raw normally works to set up the next Raw or the next pay-per-view. SmackDown usually sets up the following SmackDown, but I liked it. I like how Raw is setting up SmackDown. I really enjoyed the interlocking booking between the two shows with Daniel Bryan bringing Miz over and that sort of thing. So I don't really have too many complaints. And I think generally as well, on the whole, it was a very strong Raw. Lots of incidents, lots of surprises, lots of debuts and returns like Drew McIntyre. And yeah, I even enjoyed Natalya's face turn. I think she's better as a babyface. I just want Bobby Roode to turn heel. Oh well. We also had a big title change with Jeff Hardy too. And there's not much more to say. Very good Raw, very eventful indeed. And thank you very much for watching this video. You can follow me on Twitter at JackTheJobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic. And don't forget as well to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never forget, of course, to join us.